Hello, good morning, my friends. Nice to see you. You are watching on the Smart Money Culture TV network in Texas and Louisiana on your TV sets, as well as joining from around the world on all of our different platforms that we stream to YouTube and Instagram and all the other ones. X is really blowing up. Big news tonight. Elon Musk is going to hold an interview, Trump Unscripted, right here on X. And that's going to be, this is going to break the internet. There's going to be more people watching this interview than, I don't know, anything we've seen in a long time. Of course, the world is just on fire. You have the UK, they're holding their protest, or not holding protest, they're protesting complete and utter shutdown of free speech over there. The interesting part about that I like to bring up to everybody, and the reason why Americans and the rest of the world are kind of so clued into what's going on there, and it didn't really make sense maybe as you watched Brexit and everything happened, but we're actually all ruled, Europe, the UK, US, we're all ruled by the central banking cartel. And so that's why when you look at what's happening over there, you can bet that that's what they're planning over here. That's the major plan. And it's the same thing, right? You see, you can feel it, you can see it, same thing. Big move on gun control over here as well. They really want to get make sure that the Democrats are in office so that they can push this final push for more gun control. They want to take the guns away from you so that you can't do anything about whatever their plans are. And you see, it's so funny to me in a way. They want to take the guns when the world's on fire. The world is on fire. We have war everywhere. Not everywhere, whatever. We have war across the globe, let's say. And then that's when they want to take American guns. It's just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But I've said over and over again that what's going on in the UK, people need to pay attention because they're even protesting against the wrong people. Like, protest against the bankers. The bankers are the ones who are funding the war. They're funding the NGOs. They're funding the invasion. If you want to call it an invasion, I'll call it an invasion. They're funding the invasion of your countries. Go protest them. So it doesn't matter, man. Everybody can protest on the streets and have some little squabbles back and forth, but nothing will happen. Like, we had to think, stop being reactionary. Okay. If you want to do something, which I'm sure they do, they're at the point where they want to do something, you got to go and protest the guys that are now going to put you in jail, right? The guys that are now going to make new laws. They're going to bring in this whole more draconian, police force and laws and everything else. And you had even, I saw a clip yesterday of, the police, we got everybody. You think you got away, you didn't get away. We have everybody's videos and everything else, and they're just going to come after you. So, and you're not doing anything, right? You're not doing anything. I think that the U.S., and they're obviously, like I said, protest the people that can change things, and that is really the central bank is who you need to be moving to get them out of your country. That's what we need to do here in the U.S. as well. You need to get the central banking cartel out of our countries because they are the ones who pay for everything. If the reason why the police is not, they don't respond to what you want, or the elected officials don't respond to what you want, is because they don't have to, because the central bank is actually in control. Anyway, and if you want to do something, which I'm sure a lot of you do, is rent a boat, rent a plane, load the people up, send them home. That's really, just running around in the streets and protesting and everything else, it's not going to get us anywhere that we want to get to. That's for sure. So we have a bit of a market consolidation here, although it does appear to be kind of rebounding. Let me just see here as I'm looking at stuff. We had a quote unquote attack on Israel. It looked really like a another October 7th kind of a setup, in my opinion. So they sent over some rockets, and this, immediately, I don't think the rockets really hit anything. And then immediately you had the Secretary of Defense, whatever his name is, U.S. Secretary of Defense says, we're sending more, we're getting the ships over there faster, and we're getting more armaments over there and everything else. Theatrics, in my opinion. Whether who knows, whatever. They're going to have their war with Iran one way or the other, unfortunately. As well, yesterday you had smoke signals being sent from the nuclear plant there in Ukraine. So, yeah, I mean, I think that it's just pretty interesting, the whole theater of things, right? You have that stuff going on. Nobody really getting hurt in either of those things, it looks like, but the response is going to be pretty big. We did just have a surge as I was talking on crypto. Like I said, we appear to be in a bit of a rebound. And that's, that's how they do it, right? So Kamala, I got to tell you guys, Kamala people are excited to see Kamala. I mean, say what you want to about the girl. People are excited to vote for her. I know that it seems weird to maybe you. It seems weird to me. Actually, it doesn't really seem that weird to me. And they're going to just kind of, I don't even know, guys, if she's going to be the one that ends up being there. So over the last couple of weeks, actually, Bill Clinton's Wikipedia page has been scrubbed of all relationship to this Mossad linked guy, Jeffrey Epstein. And there used to be like a nice big block that talked about how him and Jeff were friends, and this and that, and there's all these pictures, and he's got pictures with the girls, and he went on the flight logs, and all this stuff. And then Jeffrey Epstein, who I mean, I don't want to say that he was a Mossad agent, because I don't know. Actually, I pretty much do, but I don't want to say it and them say, oh, it's fake news. But certainly his girlfriend was, or her father. Her father was a known Mossad agent. I think they probably all were. So we'll say they were Mossad linked. Okay, they were Mossad linked. Everything's gone. And so why? You know what I mean? We're talking about a former president of the United States who Jeffrey Epstein went out to the White House as well, documented multiple times. This guy was known for blackmailing people using this deal that he had set up that was most likely backed by Mossad, and that's how they would push influence. And that's, so the Wikipedia page is totally scrubbed. So why? What's going on? And it doesn't mean even if she's trying to set herself up to be the nominee that it will happen, but she's the crown jewel. I've said that from the beginning. Hillary Clinton, and since she runs with she could run with Newsom. Or I've been saying Obama. I don't think the 4-year thing, everyone says I'm wrong, but I don't think the 4-year thing really matters as long as they're not consecutive years. Or, I mean, whatever. They can say whatever they want anyway. But that's going to be pretty interesting. We'll see. Will Hillary Clinton be the nominee? That's going to be pretty interesting. So we have the markets here. It looks like are turning. I have the great Matt Dixon with me here. Sir Matt.
Hey, good morning, Bruce. How are you doing?
How are you? I'm doing
great weekend. Fantastic. Good to be back on the show again. So
awesome.
Some great updates. I think we're going to have a positive week ahead, I believe.
I agree. I think we're going to have a positive week ahead.
Yeah. So I'll just go straight into sharing my screen if I can.
Okay.
Almost there. Yeah. So, okay, that's my actually quite
Be sure to
interesting.
follow Matt Dixon, MD Trade. That's not Dr. Trade. That's Matt Dixon Trade.
Yeah. So I just have a quick flip through some of the latest updates, and then we'll take a look at the charts. So we've got PPI coming out tomorrow. Now PPI, producer prices, producer price index, has basically been one of the better measures of inflation, and we can see here expectations are for a big reduction from 0.4 to 0.2%. That's core PPI. As I say, it's been one of the better measures, and the fact it's falling reasonably dramatically is probably a good sign. It will strengthen the case for lowering interest rates. Where are we looking now? We're next month, aren't we? Middle of next month, we'll be looking at interest rate decision again.
Yep.
It's nailed on. They're going to reduce them, I think, now. It's just a matter of we'd like to see the data continue to support that decision. So that's going to be key for the Fed on their decision-making process. But as I say, it's pretty well nailed on. I think the data just needs to continue to come in a little bit soft, exactly as is expected here with PPI. So whilst there was a recent shock last weekend, not this weekend, the weekend before, really, wasn't it?
Yep.
A bit of a shock with weak news coming out of the US, but the big thing was the Japanese raising interest rates. And then they stepped back a little bit and said it's not going to be an ongoing interest rate, softening. Hardening. That was just a one-off. So that gave the markets back their mojo, and things started to move up again. So we've had some, just clicking on the recent, we've had some recent upgrades, and we'll look at ICP, which is one of them here, that got a nice upgrade, and that was despite a massive fall in the actual trade volume. But we got an upgrade. So it's quite interesting. The AI system, the eBay AI system, actually can pick out these assets despite, for example, things like a massive reduction in trade volume. You'd wonder, why is it upgraded? Well, there's a lot of reasons, a lot of data that goes into producing these ratings, the upgrades and downgrades. So we've got quite a few upgrades today. So that gives me some confidence in the markets. It helps narrow down the field.
And ICP is it's just one of my favorites. And actually, with the current price, anything under $10, I think on ICP is fantastic.
Yeah, looking really promising. I mean, if we were to get to $10, you're looking at about a 50% pump from here, which is quite conceivable. And we saw Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin's had a bit of a pullback down to 58 at the moment, that rating has held steady. So looking reasonably positive there on the rating side. And I think we'll just flip over to the charts to take a closer look rather than go through my Twitter charts. There's plenty to be seen there, but SPX is a good one to look at. Again, give us some direction. We had this, what is apparently a 1, 2, 3 or an ABC down, but it's the jury's still out. We could potentially still be ABC and pushing all the way higher to new all-time highs for the S&P 500. That's my favored outcome, and that's what I really hope for. But unfortunately, there's still a possibility of it being 1, 2, 3, and this could be an ABC wave 4, then a wave 5 down. It's possible, and I think, we did have the wave 3 was more than 1.618 times the wave A or wave 1. So that's a valid wave 3, but it would become invalid if price crosses over this dotted line. Now we're getting really close. The futures are at 5357. And the dotted line is at 5,401. If we cross that dotted line, then 1, 2, 3 would be invalidated. It would mean we're looking at an impulse higher to take us to new all-time highs for the S&P 500. Now that's the favored outlook because we've got softer interest rates coming. We've got that interest rate reduction, and we've still got a reasonably robust economy in the US. So that should actually support business. So the charts are looking hopeful. As I say, it's that red line is a very, very important red line. So I do hope we cross it, and it's actually entirely possible we could cross it today. Let's see how markets go. But I think my feeling is that the markets are in a positive mode at the moment. I expected a pullback over the weekend. As we so often say, Weekends tend to be low on volume. It's a chance for profit taking, and it's also a chance for the market makers to actually move prices back.
Yep.
And when I say move, they will actually sell in the markets. Prices come back. It allows them to pick up a lot of stop losses. So a lot of people who are long the market, they'll have stop losses somewhere below on the crypto markets in particular. And if prices come back a bit, they'll take out all the stop losses before the prices then surge higher. So that's a very typical weekend movement. And it's one of the few ways in the years of research that I've done, timing is one of the better methods to trade these assets.
True.
There's very few indicators that are actually predictive, but timing is one of them. It doesn't mean every weekend you sell or you buy. You need to look at the context of the market at the time. But after a good rise that we had last week, there was an expected pullback over the weekend. And now that's a corrective ABC, and we'll see that on some other charts we look at. And now expect some reasonable upside to come. So we'll look at DXY and so on in a minute, but I'll just, actually, I think we'll probably jump into ICP, which is a really nice one. Clearly, we've got some divergence here. The lines, I just need to correct that. Maybe it's on a different time frame, but basically we've got some divergence. So you can see, just looking from here even, yeah, it's from here actually. So that it's over a different time frame, that divergence. It must be over daily, I imagine. Yeah, and that's why I moved it. The divergence is there. So it's just a small bit of the price movement here, price action, but we've got some nice divergence there on ICP. What I want to do is just shrink this chart a little bit because there's been quite a few divergences along the way. Well, I've got a couple here anyway. So we saw here at this particular local high of $19, and as Bruce says, to go to $10 will be a piece of cake, having seen this. We got basically some regular bearish divergence, which signaled the top of the market there. So we got higher highs on the price and lower highs on the corresponding RSI. And then we saw price falling quite dramatically to this point here. We since moved up, and we moved up in 5 waves. You can probably see those 5 waves if you look carefully. You can actually see a wave 1 up to there, wave 2 down, wave 3 up to there, 4 down, and 5. So that's 5 waves higher. So that tells me that we're likely on an impulse to the upside. We've got some kind of movement down to here in basically some kind of ABC form. And then we're moving up. So we had this, what I said was bearish divergence, signaled the downward would move. But now we have the opposite, where we have lower lows on the price and corresponding higher lows on RSI. So the volume is now picking up. And I expect that's actually regular bullish divergence there. That's telling you that prices, according to this arrow here, in line with this arrow here, prices will be expected to rebound. So we got a nice signal there, and it's been one of the better signals. We'll look at some of the other assets and just see how good this has been. But that's what we're saying. ICP looks to be very much corrective in form of an A, B, and a C down to here. We've actually already... Let's just see, we haven't quite overlapped. You can see the move down here, which could be a wave A or a wave 1. You can see this move here. It often does this. It actually leaves you a little bit undecided. So it doesn't break the rules. So it could still be 1, 2, 3, but this is still a 5 waves up. So I still expect, no matter what, following 5 up, 3 down, we should still expect the next move up. So I think Bruce's $10 is underestimating it. And I'm sure that was just a off the cuff, it's going to do at least $10.
Yeah, anything under $10, I think is great.
Yeah, $10 buy, that's what you're saying. Yeah. So we had 5 waves up here. The top of this 5 waves was $10.90. So I think we should go reasonably well beyond that as a minimum. That's looking at the bearish possibility. So if we had 3 waves down here, or even 1, 2, 3, a wave 4, well, wave 4 can't go beyond here. So I actually do think that this is a wave 1 up, 2 down, and we should now go substantially higher. So just to clarify what I'm thinking about here, what's my trail of thought. If we had this as wave 1, 2, 3, and this is 5 waves, so if it's 1, 2, 3, then we'd have A because wave 4 cannot be in 5 waves. That can only be an A wave. This would be a B wave. And a C wave will be expected to be really probably at least the magnitude of this, which would take you above this point here. That would invalidate the potential 1, 2, 3. It would mean that this is actually A, B, C. And that would mean that this isn't a wave A, it's a wave 1. This is a wave 2. Wave 3 should be at least 1.618 times this wave. So that gives me a target that I can now look at, measuring this Fibonacci measurement, the size of that, and just transpose it. And then 1.618, that actually gives me a minimum target for ICP then of $14.60. So again, that's quite conservative. I've seen ICP in the past, and it often does the extended Fibonacci extensions. So, you know, 2.6.
And not like, you know, XRP will go and it almost always returns before it goes back. ICP will just go and you can cry if you missed it.
Yeah, I mean, 2.618 would be around the $20 mark, somewhere around there. So $10 might be conservative. It's looking bullish anyway. So I'm actually really hopeful on these markets right now. Solana, as you know, is one of my favorites. And I'll need to probably open that one out a little bit just to show you. Again, I've got a whole load of divergences here that you can probably see. So, for example, we have, I'll probably need to open out more, but on the daily here, I think I'll need to put it on the 4-hour probably for you to see properly. Yeah, that's better. So we can see anyway, there's a divergence ended here. This was a hidden bearish divergence. So it was telling you of some upside to come here. Sorry, hidden bearish, sorry, it's telling you of some downside to come, which is exactly what happened. So that's actually precise. So we got some hidden bearish divergence here. So we got basically lower highs on price and higher highs on corresponding RSI peaks. So that was hidden bearish, telling you of this bit of a down move here, which is exactly what we got. Then shortly after, we actually got regular bearish. So we had hidden bearish followed by regular bearish. So regular bearish is where you get higher highs on price and lower highs on corresponding RSI. And that signaled the big downfall here. So as per our usual trading strategy, with this hidden bearish, you could have sold here. You'd have actually protected your sale. And as the price moved up here, you'd have probably got stopped out, but you'd have got stopped out for guaranteed profit because there's enough room there to protect your sell trade that was signaled here. So there's enough room there to protect it. So as the price then moved up, you'd be stopped out, but stopped out for a guaranteed profit. Then the next signal that we had was this regular bearish divergence, which told you to sell around this point. Then we got a massive downside, which could be protected and use a trailing stop or something of that sort, even a manual trailing stop all the way down. But then you know exactly when to close your trade because we then got, following this regular bearish divergence, which told you to sell, when do you want to close your trade? Well, we got regular bullish divergence here, where we got, again, let's just see if you can see that a bit more clearly. There we go. So where we got lower lows in price, slightly higher lows in RSI. So that's telling you regular bullish divergence. So it told you exactly where to close your trade. So that's amazing. You not only know where to open it, but you know precisely where to close it. And that's one of the big problems that particularly retail traders have, is sometimes they don't run their profits long enough. I mean, the way I do it, as you know, is to move, once something moves into reasonable profit, I'll put a stop loss in place to protect a small amount of profit. I'll then let things run and either search for a Fibonacci extension or retracement to give me a target, or I'll look for something like this regular bullish divergence. As soon as I see that, I know it's time to close this trade. So this short trade here. So we're moving up quite nicely. So we moved up in 5 waves. I think wave 3 was exactly 3 times the magnitude of wave 1 if we looked on the fib measurements. I won't go into that one now, but I checked it earlier on. That's exactly what it was. So we've had a really nice clean wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. And we've had quite a nice clean A, B, C to the downside. Now, I'm not certain that the C wave is complete yet. We may actually still move down a bit further. That's possible because I measured the A wave, transposed the B, and we could be complete here, but the C wave would be made up of 5 waves itself. So we've got wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4. So I think it's entirely possible that we could get a further push down to complete the C wave, and that would take us potentially to around the 138 area for Solana. Sounds a lot, 146 to 138, but that can happen very easily. It's not a big move, really. And that would take us, actually be quite interesting just to see if that corresponds with the fib measurement for the whole of this move higher. Let's just see. No, it doesn't correspond exactly. It'd be around about the 50% retracement, which is actually a common retracement for a wave 2. So this movement up, let's just get rid of that. This movement up here, which is in 5 waves, you could count it as either a wave A or a wave 1. Then the retracement back to around 50%, but where C equals 1.618 times wave A, potentially. Then following that, we get an impulsive move to the upside in 5 waves. If this is a 5-wave move up and this is a 3-wave move down, we can only get 5 waves to the upside next. We can't get 3 waves, it needs to be 5 waves. So that means a really good movement to the upside once this correction is complete. As I say, it could be complete already, or it could be close to completion. So I'd be using that old method we talk about, DCA, dollar cost averaging, to buy in around this sort of area, to do a number of buys, to spread the risk. So I don't buy in all in one go. Maybe I buy a bit here. If it dips down, I'll buy some more to average the price. But then I will expect us to move up beyond this level here to substantially higher. Next target would probably be, around 190 or something for Solana. So substantial upside to be had there. Bitcoin is the one that's held steady.
It really hardly moves these days.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
it's like the dog wagging the tail. I mean, everything goes around it, but it moves 1%, 2%, 3%, which is nothing really for Bitcoin. It's becoming more of a mature asset, so more like traditional assets. So I think I showed it the other day. If not, I definitely put it on my X account, showing the volatility of Bitcoin over the years, actually. And the volatility has been decreasing month in, month out, consistently for a long, in fact, since inception, Bitcoin volatility has been decreasing. So that just tells you, as we've always said, it's evolving from being a purely speculative asset to being a store of value, digital gold. So it's the volatility is decreasing. And so we're seeing the volatility much less than that of other assets, and it's getting closer and closer to that of traditional assets like the S&P, the Dow, NASDAQ, etc. Even though NASDAQ's relatively volatile, it's still less so than cryptocurrencies. So Bitcoin is maturing definitely as an asset. I've got it labeled here as ABC. I actually think that's wrong. I think actually it's wave 1 up, 2 down, 3 up, 4, 5. I think it's a 5-wave move, in fact. So this should be actually, potentially a wave 5. This would be a wave 4. And this would be possibly a wave 3. Yeah, and wave 1 is down here in 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we've got an ABC. So actually the same sort of waveform as we've seen on ICP and Solana. So probably 5 waves up and then an ABC down here. So a little bit like Solana we just looked at, the correction may well be complete here already. I mean, it looks perfectly reasonable to be complete here. Or we may just go a little bit lower before we then push higher, but the outlook is really positive for Bitcoin as well. Another one I posted. That's the way to go, even to just get back to the high of a month ago.
Yeah, and again, another one I posted on was it over the weekend or Friday? I'm not sure now, but I actually posted Bitcoin against Ethereum. I don't know whether I shared that on the show. I think it is probably worth just going back and just showing you that, because I think I may have shown it on the last show. There's, just while we're at it, This is actually the volatility, annualized volatility of Bitcoin. And you can see again, it's actually been gradually decreasing. Even the massive spike in volatility we had last weekend, you can see it's still below all those previous peaks in volatility. So Bitcoin volatility is really decreasing. So the asset is actually maturing. And this is the chart I was just looking to show you. And it shows here Bitcoin against Ethereum. And it just shows that despite all the differences, they're quite different assets really, but they've both got an ETF now. But even the ETF, there've been big inflows into Bitcoin. And at the same time, there've actually been recently some outflows on Ethereum. But even so, the prices, you can see they've mirrored each other reasonably well. Ethereum is the lower chart, Bitcoin is the upper chart. So we see a little bit more volatility, as you can say, from top to bottom is more. The movement's down. When you say movement down, it's actually more with Ethereum. And same with the movement up, it's actually a little bit more aggressive. So Ethereum is a bit more volatile than Bitcoin, but it actually tracks it very, very closely in terms of performance. And that's true of a lot of assets, but particularly the bigger assets that tend to group together. With the small assets, you sometimes get bits of news that come out that might move the price. Particularly, excuse that, that's my chest. But gold has been moving up really nicely. Again, we did say that we're expecting to stay within this big channel. I'll just have to shrink this to show you the channel. We see it's been staying within this kind of channel here, which is a wedge kind of channel, ascending wedge, but it's only actually part of a wave 3. I think we'll get a pullback then and a further push up to a new. So wave 3, even if we complete that, we're expecting new all-time highs to come now and even bigger all-time highs in the future. So as I often say, I'm bullish gold. I definitely think it should be part of anyone's well-diversified portfolio, and there's lots of potential for upside. The percentage gains are less, but also the potential losses are less. Gold is already a store of value. Bitcoin is evolving and maturing to become more of a store of value, but gold, I would say, is already there. So it's definitely something you should use as perhaps a bit of a cornerstone foundation, not the biggest holding, but certainly a holding to stabilize a portfolio, because gold can really hold steady when the rest of the market is shaking very often. So we do say very often that there's a correlation between gold and oil, and we can see there's been a move up in gold here and a corresponding move up in oil. So almost the same, really good solid move up there in oil. So not a dangerous move up in oil, despite the tensions in the Middle East. There's no real fear in the markets at the moment. So whether that's fully priced, whether the risk is fully priced, or whether the markets are absolutely right pricing it the way they have, time will tell. But at the moment, it looks as though we've still got probably more upside to come with oil, as we have with gold, most likely. The important one, DXY, this is going to be impacted by the PPI numbers, which is basically a measure of inflation, really. So those PPI numbers coming out tomorrow. We did, once again, we're within some kind of wedge pattern, I think, here with, this is an expanding wedge.
And DXY, just for the lay people, is US dollar index.
Yeah, US dollar index, very, very important. Good that you point that out, that we monitor the US dollar because the US dollar is the world's reserve currency. It's often seen as a kind of safe haven. And in times of trouble, people often go into the US dollar, and you'll see dollar strengthen. When monetary policy weakens, so for example, with lower interest rates, you often see weaker dollar. That metric was thrown out a little bit, or that relationship was thrown out a little bit the other day when the Japanese surprisingly raised interest rates. The rest of the world is actually lowering or looking to lower interest rates. So Europe have already lowered, the UK have lowered, Canada have lowered, I think Australia have lowered. The last one that is going to lower by the look of it is America, and that's coming next month. Japan bucked the trend and actually raised rates, and that's what caused this massive shake-up in the market because, as we mentioned before, yen is a carry trade. People borrow from the yen to invest in all these other risk assets. So when you raise interest rates on the yen, people need to pay back the debt very quickly as the yen appreciates, and they pull money out of risk assets and put it back into the yen. So you see more yen appreciation, but you see the assets sell off. That's precisely what happened last week and why we got the big sell-off. But we're now seeing the Japanese Ministry of Finance came out and said, no, don't worry about it. We're not going to continue to raise rates. That was a one-off to stabilize their inflation situation, because they've actually got quite highly elevated inflation themselves. So it was a measure. I mean, this is the problem. It's a seesaw, really, or a balance. You've got to try, the central banks have got to fight inflation. At the same time, they've got to try to maintain stable growth. And sometimes it becomes a really difficult equation to manage, because if you've got high inflation and low growth, you can't raise rates to tackle inflation, because it would slow growth even more, and vice versa. So this is why they've got a bit of a problem at the moment. Growth isn't that spectacular, but inflation is still a bit elevated. And that's why the US have held off for so long. They are the last one to potentially lower rates. As I say, the rest of the world, Europe, UK, etc., have already lowered rates. America have held off because the American economy has been stronger than most of the other world economies of late. And so they've not been in a position, whilst they have elevated inflation, they've not been in a position to lower rates because inflation has remained elevated. So this is the conundrum that the Fed have. But we have seen now signs the US economy beginning to slow. We saw unemployment ticking higher, which is a big sign of potential recession to come. It's been a sign of all the recessions in the past 60 odd years, 65 years, I think. Every one of them has been presaged or, had the forerunner of the unemployment ticking higher, first of all. And that's precisely what's happened. So that's why the Fed are now a little bit worried, and they will be lowering rates in September, assuming there's no major other shocks in the market. But other than that, we're going to see lower rates coming in the US in September. And as we see that expectation solidify over coming weeks, I think the markets will behave quite nicely. So I am looking for a really nice bull run.
I mean, you can see even this dip, we had missiles and this and that and the other, and it dipped, and we had the weekend dip and everything, but it didn't near dip where it was, and everything looks set really nicely.
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of tension in the air, saber rattling tension and so on, but I still don't think that anybody really wants all out war. So
no,
that's the situation.
I agree. Thank God.
Yeah, I have been asked on my X feed to take a look at the book of memes.
So one of our favorites.
Yeah, I will just look at
that.
that.
You made a killing with this one.
Yeah, it's one of the more volatile ones. I love it because there's great liquidity and yet tremendous volatility.
It is amazing liquidity. That is and that's, I mean, as a trader, that's paramount. It's paramount.
Exactly what you want, liquidity with volatility. I mean, then you can get in and out your trades when you want without slippage, and the volatility means there's potential if if you've got some good indicators. So we can see here, I won't put in all the reasons why. These were basically spike lows, but there are also some divergences. I think all these areas where there's arrows, there are divergences in place. So this last bearish divergence was here. We got a bit of a pull down, then a big sell-off. We got a bullish divergence here. We can see the line here, and actually there's a corresponding lower lows here and higher lows here. So we've got long-term divergences, short-term divergences. Wherever you look, there's opportunities here. And these divergences, for me, are one of the more powerful signals, especially when you accompany it with the likes of candlestick formations. There's a couple of other indicators that I use as well. And also when you see oversold situations. So, for example, we had, this will be over a different time frame, probably daily. I'll just flip back to daily to see. Yeah, absolutely right. So here we had a beautiful signal of bullish divergence. So we basically got lower lows on the price, and we actually got higher lows on the RSI. Only fractionally higher, but it only needs to be a fraction higher as long as you got the lower lows on the price. And that gave us regular bullish divergence. So we got a sharp reversal in price and moved up quite nicely. and I think that's going to continue. So again, if we put that on a shorter time frame, you can break that down into 5 ways: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ABC correction down. So I think there's more upside to come. And even if we we would expect to reach at least 100% of this move here. So we're looking somewhere up at the 008 on the price, and we're currently 007. So it's still a reasonable appreciation. That'd be a bare minimum. I actually expect a lot more than that, because I think if this is wave 1, this is wave 2, we'll actually expect movement up here to probably a minimum of 1 cent, which from where we are now, we're talking about almost 50% rise. So that's a really good one to go for. And then I think probably finally we'll just close on Doge. We are always talking about, anywhere below $10, in fact, is what we usually say.
10 cents. 10 cents.
10 cents, sorry. Yeah, of course.
Maybe one day, $10. Whew, that'd be great.
We probably will. It's actually one of the most traded assets there is. I think in terms of trade volume, Doge is right up there. Shiba also is right up there on trade volume. So we've got tremendous volume. But actually, you can see, I'm just looking down the right-hand column here, tremendous day so far. All in the green, everything there in the green. There's nothing, not a single asset not in the green. So that's encouraging. And I suppose finally, I was just mentioning Doge, which looks really promising. I won't dwell too much on that because I'd just like to finish on TON before we do it again.
One of my favorites. I mean, I am like becoming such a TON maxi, I can't even tell you.
Yeah, it's looking phenomenal because I think we've had a wave 1, 2, 3, probably an ABC 4, and I think we're pushing up I think we're headed to push up. And I do think that it won't be long before we see new all-time high for TON. And again, great token, great prospects, great chain for people to build on. There's so much happening with TON.
The thing about it too is you look at the ecosystem and all those tokens on TON, so many of them are undervalued because it's not like an Ethereum. Hasn't had this massive move. It has had a massive move, but it's not, Solana's over $100, Ethereum's over $1,000. These other coins that they build on are a lot higher. And so where this thing can go is
TON is early days, isn't it? And
it's early days.
This is what tends to happen. You see, Ethereum obviously had its day, and it's obviously got its ETF, etc. But the new chains that are coming through, often they do what the older ones do, but better. So Bitcoin stands alone, the grandfather of them all. It's the underlying technology, blockchain technology, the store of value, digital gold, got the massive ETF, the massive volumes of institutional money now coming into that. But Ethereum does have real competition from the likes of TON, from the likes of Solana, all these new assets coming up that actually do what Ethereum do, but do it quicker, better, faster, and more securely. So you would wonder, they do say that as time goes on, some of the older assets will fall away and newer assets will take their place. And that's
and it's catching that movement. I remember one of the ways I really made out over the years was I got paid a bunch of Ethereum for doing work when Ethereum was, $60, $120 in that range. And then when it moved to $600, that was a life-changing move. And, and now, gosh, does it ever dip under 2,000? Hardly, you know what I mean? But so if if you got into Ethereum at $6, $7, under $50, oh my gosh, this is massive.
Yeah, I do very well remember Ethereum, certainly myself, when it was about $90 and thinking, is it going to break the $100?
Remember? Yeah. It was like flirting between 120 and 80, $90 there for quite a while, going back and forth.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so TON.
That's how we used to price things back in the day. It was how much Ethereum. You never talk dollar. You never talk dollars because that would mess with people's head because they had Ethereum. And then if you talk dollars, it's going to be $20,000 or something. Oh, that's too much money. You just tell them it was going to be, 20 or 200 Ethereum or 20 Ethereum or whatever it was. Just talk Ethereum and you were able to get more money out of them. I loved it. It was great. Those are fun days.
Yeah. So just on TON here, this again looks very, very corrective to the downside. There's so much overlap on every move that we have. So for example, this move up is overlapping even this move down here. So we can see this totally overlapping move. That means it's most likely corrective. And this move up here is actually not overlapping. So you can see this move up here isn't overlapped by this move down here, etc. So we have basically corrective movement to the downside, and we have impulsive movement. Even though it's not a big movement yet, it's still impulsive in nature because there's no overlap of the waves. So that tells me that we do expect to see some more upside. And we're actually seeing TON moving up quite strongly as we speak, to be honest.
Quite strongly as we speak. I know, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention dog or flower too, because I'm long on this dog or flower. It's one of the best meme coins, I think, on the TON blockchain. And as we talk about them moving, there's so much room for growth. Then you talk about the digital assets. Think about how the coins move. When Bitcoin goes up, they move up more, and when Bitcoin goes down, they move more, right? Because that's their trading thing. So as TON goes up, these assets have they may probably go up more than even TON. And if TON moves up more, yeah, I mean, I'm bullish TON.
Yeah, absolutely. And just looking again at all these on the right, the actual gains of today, just the largest gain of all I can see is Book of Memes. I say largest, it's actually second largest, in fact, now, because we've got Ondo, which is another token we featured on the Impact Money Show. We featured it probably a couple of weeks ago, and I said it was a great prospect. It's done really, really well. So we can see 5.9% about today, and Book of Memes 5.8%. So they're both up there leading the field. And when the market's moving up, those are the assets, those type of assets. Another one, this CAS here is also not up massively today, but it has been a really good prospect. One we featured again a couple of weeks ago. So a lot of the tokens that we do feature, we give you good indications when's a good time potentially to get in. Obviously, it's not firm, it's not financial advice, but when the signals are telling us it's maybe a good opportunity, then maybe it's time for you to look more closely, because we have been signaling quite accurately. So just to summarize, I think the week ahead is looking positive. I think PPI tomorrow will underpin the market. I think we'll get good lower PPI figures coming out. So whilst there may still be a little bit of choppiness today, I think the rest of the week should be positive. So I'm very hopeful on these markets, and I'm actually sat long in a few assets at the moment. So yeah, I hope that was helpful, and look forward to giving you a full update tomorrow with some of the eBay upgrades to give you some pointers there.
Amazing.
Great.
Well, always a pleasure, my friend. I think I'm shooting some interviews this afternoon too. Our friend Fly Mackey with the TV network. He really wants to come on the show. You gotta have me on the show.
Great stuff. Look forward to that. Yeah. Thank you, Bruce. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you, Matt. Cheers. The great Matt Dixon. Matt Dixon in the house. I'll tell you what, the market reports that we do, I trade by them. I know every morning that I can look here, and I'll tell you what, if you follow the signals that we put out, if you just do that, put your stop losses in, be smart about your trades, don't be emotional, don't leverage to where you're going to die if you have a movement, and you're going to make money. You will make money. That's the way it works, guys. And we've been trading for a long time. Matt, especially, he's been trading for a long time. He has been trading for a long time. I am working on the Impact Money Show website, so I've been working on that. I should have that up pretty soon. I'll tell you what, just during this show, just during the last hour of this show, we hit 58,100 and something I saw on the Bitcoin, and we're now oh wow, okay, well there you go, 59,256 right now. So we moved up over $1,000 on the Bitcoin price just during this show. That is what is that, that's almost a 2% move on Bitcoin just during the show. It's an impressive move. Let me just see here what these other ones are looking like as well. Nice move here, guys. So we've had our consolidation over the last little bit. Now it looks like we're going to do a nice move up. We are having a nice move up. Let me just look at the futures again here. Dow futures have moved positive while we were doing the show. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. So looks pretty nice. Now we, again, like I always say, there could be some chop. Don't over leverage the markets. But everybody's expecting the PPI numbers, of course, to come out tomorrow. The central banking cartel is going to give us further confirmation that they're going to lower interest rates. We got to get rid of those guys. You know, central banking cartel has got to go, guys. There's no way that we will be free. Free the slaves. That's what I always say. Free the slaves. Get rid of the central banking cartel. We cannot be free until we get rid of these guys. Have to get rid of the central banking cartel. One of the ways, though, that we peacefully fight, and what I've been doing for over a decade now with the monetary revolution, I talk about the monetary revolution all the time, is taking my US dollars, or not using them until I absolutely have to. Just don't use them, right? Don't hold them. Don't use them. Go into other things. Have gold. Have silver. You should join actually at Cost Metal, at Cost Metals with an S.com. Use referral thing clubs with an S, referral code. I'll put it right here. So I know that, you know, these crypto can be tricky. I will have a crypto starter pack by the end of this week. Definitely. I'm going to have a crypto starter pack on the Impact Money website, the Impact Money Show website, that people will be able to get involved easily, store their crypto safely. So I will have that up. It's a little tricky. I hate building websites. I used to build websites all the time. At one point in time, I had, without going into details, I had, well, whatever, I guess. So I used to staff a lot of models back in the day, right? My wife was a professional cheerleader, and she said, hey, you know, I want to do this model staffing company. Sounded like a lot of fun to me. So I said, okay, sure, honey. I think it was before we were married when I started it. It was. And so we started this promotional modeling company and staffed all kinds of models, did all kinds of stuff. A lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And at one time, I had, I don't know, 50, 100 different websites. And no matter what you searched for, whether it was like promotional models or trade show models or this, that, and the other, I had like the first, 2 or 3 Google searches. They were all me. Didn't matter which website you clicked into, they all came to me. And that was interesting. So a lot of website building. I built a lot of websites back in the day. I don't like to do it too much anymore. But it's hard to get what you want if you just pay someone to do it. And so that's kind of where I'm at. So I'll probably continue to put this together and then maybe redo it. But anyway, I'll have that coming up. But I know that crypto is hard sometimes for everybody to get their head around. And also as well, you saw in this dip, right? Gold was like steady as all heck. I mean, what did it go down? 2%? We're talking, digital assets moved 20%. Even Bitcoin, I think, moved 20%. It was the biggest move I'd seen in Bitcoin in quite a while. And that's scary for people. I understand that. But gold is already a store value. Bitcoin, digital assets, they're still maturing. I get it. These are high-risk assets. Gold is not going to do the same thing that Bitcoin's going to do. Bitcoin and these other the altcoins, I think Bitcoin is going to go. It's going to go. I mean, not financial advice and all that jazz, right? But in my opinion, these altcoins, you're looking at 100x on a lot of these ones. It's very, very possible. Very, very possible. Not financial advice. Anything can happen. Okay. But I understand and you want to be diversified as well. You want diversified. Gold needs to be part of a diversified portfolio. So if you go to atcostmetals.com and put in the referral link clubs, okay, and we can work directly with you. But you can just buy some silver, buy some gold every month, whatever you want to do. I think that it's a monthly thing, right? So you join, I think it's either $150 or $399, depending on what you do. You do $399 package, you get some coins, okay? You the 149. I don't think you get any coins, or maybe you do. And then you can set yourself up on an auto thing, get a coin a month. If you bought just like a $75 buy of silver coins over the last 20 years, just once a month, it's like over $1 million. It's like over $1 million, just one $75 purchase. So get in there, get involved, set yourself up at costmetals.com. Use the referral links clubs, okay, and start. So we're going to talk more and more about that. Now, when I talk about assets that I think are going to continue to get better, all right, and to go up in value, I have to as well talk about polka gold, and polka. Sorry, put this other gold and Dalgo. Their meme coin Dalgo. The reason I have to talk about them is because what they've done. Oops, that's the wrong one. Paris blockchain was fun though. Polka gold and their meme coin Dalgo. So what they've done here, first of all, Algorand, they built this on Algorand. Algorand is one of those assets. It's skidded across the bottom. Italian guy, MIT grad, put Algorand together. It's got a great ecosystem. Going back to its all-time high is like, I mean, it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. And you have to figure, all right, so Bitcoin goes up to 100,000. The rest of these assets are going to be like, boom, okay? So you have Algorand that has all of these different tokens that are built on it, like Polka Gold and like their meme coin Dalgo. And these things, again, I got to say, not financial advice, and I get paid to do this stuff and all those things I'm supposed to say, right? But that happens, and then these guys have locked the liquidity. So Polka Gold was started by Polkadot and by Algorand whales. Okay, guys who had a lot of these assets. And what they did was when they started it, they put all of the coins into a smart contract and locked it with a bunch of Algorand. So it kind of has a floor. Now the floor is it could fluctuate on the price of Algorand, but it's always going to have that floor of Algorand. So if you believe that Algorand is going to go up, which of course I do, I'm bullish Algorand, and I think it's definitely going to go up. You know what I mean? And we talk about those assets that are going to boom, like we were talking about with TON and all this other stuff. Then Polka Gold with the locked liquidity is going to go up. Okay. Now the other thing it does is you always have a way out. So I feel very comfortable. You know, I talk about different assets, and we can move up on them, and we can do all kinds of things with them, and they're fun, and we can make a lot of money. But one of the reasons why this one is so attractive is because I'd like for you to have a way out as well when you want it. So if you buy some Polka Gold, or you buy some of the meme coin Dalgo, and I'll talk about what they did with Dalgo with the locking in just a second. But if you buy some Polka Gold, which trades under P Gold, then and you can get it on a centralized exchange on CoinStore, or you can get it on the DEX, Vestige, or some of the other ones. I'll put I always put below my post usually how to buy it. Then when you want to sell, you just sell. The liquidity is there. It's been locked. So the only way you can get Polka Gold is by buying it. You know, they can't just give it out there and that makes the market go down. They can't give it away, right? Everything's locked. That's what the founders did. And the founders as well remained anonymous, which is also pretty interesting because that has definitely been one of the ways that Bitcoin has been so powerful, is that nobody really knows who started it. You can theorize, oh, the NSA started it, the CIA started it, some Asian guy started it, AI started it, aliens started it. Nobody really knows. Nobody knows. I think the founder's either dead or in jail. That's what I think. And it wasn't just one person, but there is always one person who is the the real brain behind it. So what they did with Dalgo was they locked 10% of the Polka Gold supply. So they took 10% of the Polka Gold. The community did it, actually even more than 10%, which, remember, Polka Gold has locked liquidity by Algorand. So then the community put up whatever it was, 10, 15% of Polka Gold, and they locked it at the launch of Dalgo. And they set that thing go just the same way. All the tokens are there. They're all right there. And I'm long. I like it. I think that Dalgo, and if you think about Algo, Rand trades under Algo, D-Algo or Dalgo. It's fun. It's fun meme coin. And I think that it's going to go quite far. So I am long those. The market is still appreciating here, guys. We got some nice green wicks. That's going to continue. And so Polka Gold and their meme coin Dalgo. So when you're looking for places that can you can put your stuff and be happy about it, I think that's a good one. Now, if you want to store your coins, safely, then of course I recommend the Tangem wallet. Okay, the Tangem wallet, pretty nice here. Dow futures, as well, as I'm talking, have continued to move up. Tangem. So the Tangem wallet is a hardware wallet. It comes in like a credit card thing. It uses an RFID chip to communicate with your phone, but you do get your secret keys. So remember, not your keys, not your coins. So if you don't have your secret keys, then those are not your coins you're holding on in exchange. You will probably lose those coins one day. And that includes Coinbase. So this is it's a hardware wallet. I like it a lot. I use it myself. Make sure to use the code Impact Money when you buy it. They also have a ring that you can get. Okay. And if you go over here, ring. It's pretty simple. So the ring. I'll turn that on. So the ring comes with two of the cards. So you can put a card in your safety deposit box, wherever you want. And then you can have your ring on you and carry your crypto with you. You carry around millions of dollars right on there on your ring if you want. Of course, it's all on your passwords and everything else. Maybe you don't carry $1 million around with you. Who knows? Whatever you want to do. But store your crypto safely. There with tangem.com. Make sure to use code Impact Money. Make sure you use code Impact Money when you get that thing. Get your 10% discount. Ring. That is nice. Works right with the phone. Comes with, like I said, it comes with the cards there. And it's pretty sexy. It's sexy. Now, of course, these are the American-made Bitcoin-inspired timepieces. Coin Vigilante watches. Get a 10% discount here. Use code Impact Money. Okay, get yourself a Coin Vigilante watch. I wear the Coin Vigilante watch right over there on my desk. Beautiful American-made timepieces. They have the ladies. They have the men's. These things are awesome. So make sure you check them out. Check them out. CoinVigilante.com. So, all right, market's going to move up. it kind of tells me, I don't know, the markets are funny. They kind of predict what's going to happen. So I don't know, guys. I feel like we might not have some big flare up in the Middle East, even though everyone's saber rattling right now. Everyone's saber rattling, right? We're sending over a lot of armaments, but if the markets are in the indicator, we're not going to have a full-fledged war over there, and that's great, really. I talk about it all the time. We got to stop killing each other. Just stop killing each other. We don't have to like each other, and we don't have to trust each other. We don't. It's fine. We don't have to like each other, and we don't have to trust each other. Just stop killing each other. That's all. Just stop killing each other. For now. Just, What do you guys think? So I also, and I mean, as I say that, it just means the market, it just means right now things probably aren't going to flare up. Okay. I mean, it doesn't mean that they won't flare up in a week or a few days from now. We could have a nice big market push up this week, and then boom, we get the decline, because they're playing the markets too. So these guys, they're playing the markets too. So let the market go up. We get good PPEP numbers. We get this, that, and the other, and then bam, we get an attack, and everything goes down. And they know when the attacks are coming, right? They know when they're doing the attacks. So then they sell, short the market, and then you go boom. That's another reason why you always want to pay attention to what we talk about on the show. We talk about more than just the charts, but we talk about geopolitical situation, also what's going on behind it. Where's the volume coming from? Has the volume gone down? Have the big guys exited the market? The big guys exited the market and retail is just taking it up. Well, that's a big indicator right there that you're about to pull back, because the big guys don't usually lose, right? They're the ones who move the markets. So pretty interesting. We've continued to move up on Bitcoin. 59,500 almost just hit right now. 59,489, basically 59,500. Almost a $1,500 move just during the show. $1,400 move, pretty impressive. That's a 2-3% move. That is impressive. So we have Trump on. The thing about this whole election thing is just weird. I don't know, guys. Just weird. Trump should win, of course. If it doesn't win, we're in a heck of trouble, that's for sure. But I just get a weird feeling about it. I mean, how about you? Do you get a weird feeling about what's going on? I mean, we have like an attempted assassination, and then nobody even really talks about it anymore. And that was like 2 weeks ago, right? Attempted assassination. And then maybe 3 weeks ago, whatever. Almost a month, I guess. And then 2 weeks after that, we have an attempted assassination on Vladimir Putin. And we don't even hear about it in the US. So I can pretty much guarantee you that whoever ordered the assassination of President Trump also ordered the assassination of President Putin. And I'd be willing to bet that it's the same group that said to stop counting the votes on November 8th, 2020. I bet. It's the same group. So then the question, who is it? Right? Who is it? Central banking cartel is in charge. So of course my knee jerk is always the central banking cartel, because you always go to the top, right? Who's in charge? Okay, well, there you go. But what do you think? Do you think it was them? Do you think the central banking cartel also took out JFK? I mean, what do you think? And if they did take out JFK, can we leave them in power and our kids have any future? And if they did try to assassinate Trump, let's say the central banking cartel did try to assassinate Trump and Putin in the same month. What do? This guy says, and the Fed. I say and the Fed. Here's the thing. We're probably never, pretty much almost guaranteed we're never going to know who ordered the assassination of Donald Trump and Putin in the same month. Certainly wasn't Iran, though. Okay. In the BlackRock building with the Jewish boy crooks. Not Iran. But what we do is we end the Fed. We end the Fed. And that's how we can start to push things forward. That's how we can do stuff. Penny, the sky is falling, battling the streets, all this stuff. Just that's what they want. And then they bring in more laws. The election is really important, though. The election is really important. So the DNC, the Democrat convention, when is this? It's coming up. DNC convention. What to know about it? 31 minutes. Oh, yeah, they're talking about it here. Wikipedia upgraded 31 minutes ago. I guess this was, they were probably updating this page when they were taking Jeffrey Epstein, Mossad linked Jeffrey Epstein off of Bill Clinton's page, right? So the Democrat National Convention is on August 19th through the 22nd. Wonder if they'll let me come and cover it as media. I wouldn't want to be there. Yeah. I watched CNN for the first time in a million years last night. Not on purpose. It was just on with some people that I was with. And I was watching their reaction to it. It was pretty interesting, really. It was just quiet. Watching everybody. People watch that stuff. They watch it and they believe it. They believe it. They are believers. And that's what I said, T. Kamala, they didn't like Joe, but they're happy with Kamala. They're happy with her. They're fine with that. So, but pretty interesting watching that whole bit because, Trump bad and this and that. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know. One of the big problems too is you got these 10 to 20. I say 10 to 20 just to be nice. It's over 20 million, whatever. Newcomers that have come in the last 4 years, and that doesn't include guys. They were saying there were 11 million illegals here for my whole life. So there's probably like 50 million people that have entered illegally. I'm shooting from the hip, kinda. It's an educated number though. So you figure 20 million over the last, and those 20 million, they come in, they grant, and they claim asylum. So they get, those EBT cards or whatever they give people, and they can go spend the money and they buy groceries and stay at nice hotels. Wouldn't you want to go stay at a hotel for months on end? Have some card, go buy your food, go around, chase girls, chase American girls. He's some guy from God only knows where. I don't blame any of them for coming. I would come. If I was them, I'd be here. Be trying to get some American girl pregnant so I could have an American baby. Have an anchor baby. And then I'd be all set. And you know how it is. These programs work. Probably once you have a kid, you get more money. Right? That's the way it works. You have some kids. Messed up system that we have. But, Trump won Pennsylvania by 80,000 votes. I mean, lost or won. Either way, when he won or he lost, I think both times it was under 100,000 votes. And we're talking about 20 million people. We're talking about 50 million. But let's just say the last 4 years. 20 million people. Here, there, here's some ballots. And they're telling them, by all appearances, they're encouraging these people to vote. And nothing's going to happen to them if they vote. Besides, unless you and I decide to deport them, start loading them up in chartered planes and boats and get them out of here. That is what it'll come to. I don't think there's. I just don't see it happening any other way. I don't actually. Yeah, I don't know. So I'm not advocating violence. Okay. Just theoretically saying, all right. But as well, you look at, and I know Trump's daughter-in-law, Eric's wife, who seems like a lovely woman. Sure she is. Eric is a nice guy. But so Laura is the assistant Democrat chair, or the assistant chair of the Republican National Committee, the RNC. And then you have, though, the Rhino guy who's the head. And it's like, oh, yeah, we're getting all these people. We have hundreds and thousands of people that are going to be poll watchers and this and that and the other. That is not reactionary. Putting those people together is not reactionary, but the whole plan is reactionary. Because the plan is to go after the people after. And we saw what happens after. Courts are like useless. They won't hear it just on general principle. Whether they didn't hear anything. He said there was no, whatever they said. They didn't have jurisdiction or something. Or there was no, whatever they said. I forget the word now. So they're going to cheat more than likely. And if they're going to cheat that much, I mean, of course, they're going to throw the election. They got the millions, I think, the millions and millions of ballots. And they got the machines. We didn't do anything about the machines. Now, that's not reactionary. Now, if the Republicans in Congress, yeah, I have a weird feeling. It's a weird feeling. You said it exactly right, Lisa. Doesn't feel right. I was talking to my brother about it yesterday. Doesn't feel like Trump's going to win. Even if he should win, doesn't feel like he's going to win. So being ahead of the game, not after, okay, would be to get the magic machines out. Now, the executive order that, of course, Youngkin in Virginia did was encouraging, but all of them should do that. But just having an executive order saying that the machines need to be off of the internet and that no illegals can vote, I mean, it's a step in the right direction for sure. But I mean, we're talking like, what is it? August, September, October, November. I mean, 3 months. What's the enforcement on that? Like, again, are we reactionary in the fact of enforcement? So are the machines just going to go out there and then later they're going to say, oh, well, this one is connected to the internet, that one is connected to the internet? Well, and that's just Virginia. Virginia, they brought in, Virginia used to be Republican primarily, but they brought in so many people from other countries and cultures, mostly concentrated in Northern Virginia, but they're really able to throw the whole state with those numbers that they have in Northern Virginia. Pretty much. Pretty interesting. So I don't know. The whole thing seems pretty funny to me. Trump is back on X. That's a step in the right direction. Elon is firmly behind Trump. That's a step in the right direction. And of course, I love Elon. I want to get hooked up to the Neuralink. I volunteered years ago to be one of the test people. They never responded. I don't want guys like me on Neuralink. I'll know too much. I'm all about it, though. My goal is I want to at least live to be 120. I figure if I can live to be 120, I'll be okay. I'll be happy. But a lot of guys my age and a lot of girls my age, that should be your goal, is to make sure that you live to be 120. If we live to be 120, then we'll probably figure out how to live longer. And if you want to die, then go ahead. Be my guest. I don't care. I want to live. I want to live. I want to see us be an interstellar species. That's why people talk about the end times. It's the end times. It's not the end times. There's a certain group of people that wants it to be the end times. But it's not us. We don't want it to be end times. Why do we want it to be end times? We're supposed to travel the stars. Talked about it on my last show. I mean, what if we are the most beautiful beings in the universe? What if aliens are all these like ugly little creatures and humans are these beautiful species? Or what if not? What if there's other beautiful beings? And probably there's other beautiful beings, right? Probably. Anyway, it's been a great show. I love doing the show. Hats off to my main man, Fly Mackey. Fly, if you're watching, I know I didn't reach out, but I know you don't want to come on the show this early, man. We'll just record your segment and we'll go from there. I'll be back on TV in about 4.5 hours. Cheers.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.